Okay, we are back, and I am just having such a fun week dealing with a broken, faulty RAM chip on my main laptop. So I'm on this backup computer. So let's hope for the best. I wanted to do a couple of different things today. I did a couple different ideas. We'll see if I can get to everything. One was a sort of polishing off, finishing up of some Max for Live patches that I had messed with during a sketch exploration series. I did about 100 videos a couple of years ago of just me kind of doing this, only spending a lot more time. One of the techniques that I messed with was this randomizing the tempo and also causing the start and stop to pause. Some of you might wonder, like, why the heck would you want to do those things? And my answer would be, well, why not? Honestly, if you have a lot of effects like delays and things, and you pause, you can hold down, at least with PC, Shift and Space to pause the transport, and Shift and Space to, instead of starting from one every time. So if you have a bunch of clip automations, then if you've got like a delay that you're automating and you've got a lot of feedback and you pause it when the feedback is at certain points, you'll get these tails of things. So you can get a lot of interesting effects by just pushing pause. Maybe we can try to see if we can squeeze some of those ideas out. So let's pull in the transport auto random play pause, mouthful. And all you got to do is hit the on off button, and every 1,000 seconds it sends a random, possibly maybe of a player pause. So it's kind of random. So you can already hear it kind of affecting the MIDI note there. And let's get a delay on so we can, let's get our delay on so we can test this idea out. And I'm gonna automate this here. So it will pause at different delay times. And yes, if we do the same with the automate or the feedback, automate that. So there you can hear it pausing with a lot of feedback. So this patch could also be useful for, maybe like an installation. If you wanted to have some kind of generative installation, run something like this running, could be a good application for it. The other patch I want to play with is the tempo randomizer. If I can find, staring right at it. So this one, we just turn it on, and you can see up here that it sort of scales or glides the tempo between the bottom tempo and top tempo. And we can turn the glide off if we just wanted to jump. We can set the number of milliseconds between when it fires off a new random. And it looks like the glide is not turning off there. So that's a fun little bug I'm going to have to take a look at. So anyway, this is also good if you want some other weird effects. As you can hear, we're getting some strange little clicks coming, possibly from the delay, possibly from our operator. So let's get a randomizer in there. So the MIDI notes coming in here are going to fire off random amounts. One thing I like to do is put a arpeggiator, and then let's put a random map onto that. So every note that comes through is, now this might get a little crazy because we're getting a ton of notes possibly coming out of the arpeggiator if the randomness happens to set the rate to something really fast. So let's put this right before the arpeggiator. And maybe put a glide on it. 1, 2, smooth. And for this one, I'm going to turn off the MIDI note in effects, the randomizer X8. So basically, if you have these on, the MIDI note in will fire off a random note. And if you have these on, you've got all these different time signatures based on, I guess, your tempo and everything else that will fire off a random note this one is like every 1 bar. So anyway. You can have them both on at the same time if you really want to have some stacking there. So let's let's have this change the volume. This is kind of what I'm doing here is a little technique that I like to mess with the LFO rate when this is set to high, and it gets a nice modular kind of sound. And also like to turn up operator 2. Maybe we'll get a randomizer on this for some extra craziness. So right now we've got a lot of pausing going on, and if we wanted, for testing purposes, we can turn this off and just go ahead and manually hit play. So this way we can, get more results happening. And one thing I do miss in the newer Ableton, they replaced the chorus with a newer version, which is also really useful. But the older one had an interesting sound, especially when you have this times 20 on. You get some really intense modulation stuff happening. So let's see if we can get more of a long note coming through here. And it's a pretty extreme kind of effect, but I really enjoyed that. So what you can do is load up an older project that uses, also they replace the phaser as well. You load up an older project that uses both the phaser and chorus, you group them, and you can drag this somewhere. Like here, I dragged it into I've got like you could drag it really into any one of these set folders. I like to put it in my presets for rack presets. And then you can add, whatever filter color there. And that way you can drag that rack back in and it just loads up these legacy effects. I wish these were, still in, and there may be some new way that I don't know of to load them in. Perhaps I can right click on this and choose legacy, but I don't think so. Yeah, so awesome. Okay, cool. There are a couple of other things that I wanted to bust out as I was kind of thinking about the idea for this sketch. I had some other quick little ideas that didn't really go anywhere, so I just thought I'd just drag them in and maybe we'll see if they fit. This is using, and of course, since we're making weird experimental avant-garde sketching here, this just kind of works. It kind of fits. This is using the new version of Cardinal synth, and there's this new Elastica effect that's a very physical model, kind of a resonant thing that I think just sounds really interesting. And we're using some of the new stoermelder, where you can just map to a bunch of different knobs, and then here we've got an LFO. This VCO is actually going in, as well as this LFO going to this merge, and this CB map has like each one of these is a different polyphonic. So basically, each one of these affects each one of these. It's the polyphony concepts in VCV are really, really intense, and there's a lot of great tutorials out there on them. Maybe one day I'll start making some more VCV-oriented tutorials. So yeah, so we've got a lot of crazy cross-modulation happening in here. So that just kind of works. Awesome. And here's another rack preset I made using Cardinal, and this one just kind of self-running. Yeah, really intense stuff. So let's get some mapping on this. Yeah, a bit brash and noisy and alien, but sometimes that's just what you need to get through the day, Sometimes when your RAM craps out on you, you just got to start making some noises to cope with the with the annoying lemons falling on your plate in life. That's why I definitely love this whole freeform sketching thing, and a lot of times they don't go anywhere. A lot of times you're gonna just be like, but that's okay. I think one of the parts of becoming an artist is, if I can digress a little, learning to sketch a little bit every day, but learning to be okay when those sketches aren't always great. All right. So we could add some, you know, some kind of kick sort of situation here. Very not much of a kick there, but so let's pitch that down. I want to pull in this rack that I made and added to the bunch. And let's see, it's the MIDI octave shifter rack, really useful stuff. It basically goes up 2 octaves or down 2 octaves. Here we go. And I feel like it's out of tune. Maybe a little better. And let's pull a copy of this over here. Very nice. I mean, not super interesting, but I think, you know, spending a little more time, this could be turned into something a little more something or the other. So what I'm going to do here is take this noise up 1, and then take this down here. I love this filtering system that Ableton has. That is awesome. And this noise is a bit brash, harsh. So if we want more of a... There we go. And of course, reverb always is fun. Gives it a sort of magical realism in a weird way. Reverb just kind of transports you a little bit, takes you somewhere far off, alien planet. And then let's try our... I guess I replaced the tempo automation stuff, so let's get that going again and just hear what kind of crazy stuff happens. Not always useful for beats, this kind of randomizing. You can go way crazy if we want. And let's get some fast play pauses, so... And icing on the cake, yeah, getting a little crazy there. I just found these new free plugins from IRCAM. You just got to subscribe to their newsletter, and you can download some demos. But there's 2 free ones that come in with the bunch, and these just do really gnarly mangling, spectral mangling type stuff. I think they sound really nice. IRCAM never usually fail to deliver on some really interesting experimental stuff. All right, we're probably going way over on time, but that is a-okay because we're just having fun here and blowing off a little steam. And let's fast track in a wet and dry rack. I'm going to open this up and just drag all this nonsense into here. There we go. And what I'm going to do is something I don't normally do is take a mapping from one spot and then map it to some faraway spot like there, because it's really hard to know exactly where this wet and dry is, especially when you open this thing back up after a long time later. And let's see here. Again, these VST3s by IRCAM are free, and I think they're really cool. Yeah, tempo killer. All right, so that just about does it, I think, for this weird sketch. And until next time, happy sketching.